There is a number in my trade that decides more about your house than you will ever know about, and almost nobody says it out loud. It is the minimum charge. Before anybody touches anything in your home, before a wrench comes off the truck, most shops need to see somewhere between $100 and $200. The trip fee alone runs 75 to 150 in most markets. That is not gouging. That is a truck, fuel, insurance, and an hour of a licensed man's day. And it costs the same whether the part he installs is $4 or $400. Now here is what that does to you. You would assume the small, cheap 10-minute jobs are the easy ones to get help with. It runs exactly backwards. The cheaper and faster the repair, the less likely anyone is ever going to come do it for you, because the math does not work for the man in the truck. So those repairs just sit there. They sit in old houses for years, quietly costing money. And nobody ever teaches you them, because there is no money in teaching you them. I'm going to give you 20 of them today. Every single one costs less in parts than that minimum charge. And at the end, I will show you a free test that uses a device already bolted to your property, one that tells you whether any of the other 19 are happening in your house right now, behind a wall, where you cannot see it. Let me back up for a second, because there is a reason these repairs are even possible. Walk through a house built before about 1980 and look at the fixtures. They were built to be taken apart. Standard threads, standard sizes, parts you could buy at any hardware counter in the country. That was not sentiment, it was economics. Nobody threw out a whole faucet over a worn rubber washer. That design thinking is still sitting inside your walls, which is why the parts still cost $4 in a world where the labor to install them costs $200. I'm going to sort these into 3 groups, not by room, by what they cost you. The first 7 cost you nothing. No parts, no trip to the store. Just 10 minutes and knowing where to look. Number 1, dye test every toilet in the house. A worn flapper, that is the rubber seal at the bottom of the tank, can pass water into the bowl silently, around the clock. The EPA puts a leaking toilet at up to 200 gallons a day. 200 gallons, no sound at all. Drop a dye tablet or 10 drops of food coloring in the tank, do not flush. Walk away for 15 minutes. If color shows up in the bowl, that toilet is leaking. Cost of the test, nothing. Flush it as soon as you are done reading, because dye sitting in a tank will stain it. Do it on every toilet you own, including the one in the basement nobody uses, because that is the one that has been running unheard for 2 years while nobody was in the room to hear it. Number 2, your faucet lost pressure and you think you have a pipe problem. You almost certainly do not. Unscrew the aerator, the little screen at the tip of the spout, and look at it. It will be packed with mineral grit and rust flake. Think of it like plaque in an artery, except this artery unscrews with your fingers. Before you pull it apart, lay the pieces out on the counter in the order they came off. Or take a picture with your phone, because there is a screen, a rubber washer, and a flow restrictor in there, and they only work in one order. Drop the lot in a cup of white vinegar overnight, rinse it, screw it back on. Free. A shop would bill you $50 to $100 to do that exact thing and call it aerator cleaning. Number 3, same problem, different fixture. And this time, it is a shower that has gone weak and spitty. Fill a sandwich bag with white vinegar. Tie it over the shower head with a rubber band. so the face is submerged. Leave it overnight, run it hot in the morning. The scale dissolves and the spray pattern comes back. Number 4. Your garbage disposal hums, but will not turn. That hum means the motor has power and the impeller is jammed. So do not stand there flipping the switch, because you will burn the motor out. Kill the power at the wall switch. Look at the underside of the unit, and you will find a hex socket in the center. Most disposals ship with a little hex key taped to the side. Work it back and forth until it spins freely. Then press the red reset button on the bottom. And I should not have to say this, but never put your hand down a disposal to clear it, not even with the switch off. If something needs to come out of there, use tongs or a pair of pliers. Free. And I have been paid a service call for exactly this more times than I would like to admit. Number 5, undersink smell, or a sink that drains slow no matter what you pour in it. That U-shaped bend under the cabinet is the P-trap, and it holds a little water permanently to block sewer gas. It also collects everything else. Bucket underneath, unscrew both slip nuts by hand, pull it, clean it, put it back. What comes out of there will explain the smell. Number 6, your water heater rumbles or pops when it fires. That is sediment, a layer of mineral that settles on the tank floor and traps water underneath it. When that water flashes to steam, it makes that popping sound, and meanwhile your burner is heating a rock instead of your water. Kill the power or set the unit to pilot. Shut the cold inlet. Then hook a hose to the drain valve at the bottom and run it to a floor drain or outside. Open a hot tap somewhere in the house while it drains, or the tank will hold a vacuum and barely trickle. Do this once a year. Do this on an electric tank without hesitation. If you have a gas heater and you are not confident, skip it and leave it to a pro, because I am not going to have you working around a gas valve on my say-so. Number 7, pipes that bang when a faucet or a washer shuts off. That is water hammer, moving water slamming to a stop with nowhere to go. Older homes have air chambers, short-capped stubs of pipe that hold a cushion of air for exactly this reason. And over the years, that air gets absorbed into the water and the cushion disappears. Shut off your main. Open the highest faucet in the house and then the lowest one. Let it all drain, then close them and turn the main back on. You just refill those chambers with air. Free, and the banging stops. Before I get into the parts, one thing. I wrote a guide called 100 Old House Fixes that save you thousands. It is built to do 2 things for you: help you ask a contractor sharper questions, and keep the visits you do not need off your calendar entirely. The link is in the description below, and you can scan the code on your screen. Meanwhile, while you were watching that, the toilet down the hall may well have moved another 40 gallons. Which brings me to the second group. These need a part. Every part in this group costs less than the trip fee to have somebody hand it to you. Number 8, that toilet failed the dye test, so replace the flapper. $5 to $15, and it is a 2-minute job. Shut the supply, flush and hold to drain the tank, unclip the old one, clip the new one on, leave about a 1/2 inch of slack in the chain. Now, one thing nobody mentions. If you put a brand new flapper in and it still leaks the dye test, the flapper was never the problem. The flush valve seat underneath it is pitted or scaled, and no rubber on earth will seal against a rough surface. Drain the tank and scrub that seat with a green scouring pad first. Number 9, the toilet that runs and runs. That is the fill valve, the tall assembly on the left that refills the tank. 10 to $20, 15 minutes, one nut underneath the tank. While you are in there, set the water level about an inch below the top of the overflow tube. Set it higher, and the toilet quietly runs water down that tube forever, and you will never hear it. Number 10. A dripping faucet is almost never a dead faucet. Inside is a cartridge, a replaceable valve body that does the actual sealing, and it is a wear part. $15 to $50 depending on the brand. Bring the old one to the counter and match it. Meanwhile, a whole new faucet runs $100 to $400, and a shop will bill you around $125 to $175 just to swap the cartridge you could have swapped yourself. Number 11. Your toilet rocks slightly when you sit down, or there is a damp ring on the floor. The wax ring is a soft donut of wax sealing the toilet to the drain flange, and when it fails, water goes into the subfloor instead of the pipe. The ring is $4 to $15. Ignore it, and you are into subfloor repair at a few hundred. And if it reaches the joists or the ceiling below, past $1,000. That failure is slow, and it is silent, and it is happening under a fixture you look at every day. Number 12. Water pooling behind the toilet, but the wax ring is fine. Look at the two bolts joining the tank to the bowl. There is a rubber gasket between them, and it hardens with age, the same way an old rubber band goes stiff and cracks. Kit is under $15. Tighten those bolts by hand only, alternating sides, and stop when it is snug. Crank them with a wrench, and you will crack the porcelain, and then you own a new toilet. Number 13. Any threaded joint that weeps. Thread seal tape, sometimes called PTFE tape or Teflon tape, costs about $1 a roll. 3 wraps, clockwise, looking at the end of the fitting, so tightening. The joint pulls the tape tighter instead of unwinding it. Wrap it the wrong direction, and you have made the leak worse and wondered why. Tape is for threads only, by the way. It does nothing for a compression fitting. Number 14. The anode rod. And this is the one that costs people the most money out of pure ignorance. Inside your water heater is a metal rod that is designed to corrode. It is a sacrifice. The rust attacks that rod instead of your tank walls, which is why it is called a sacrificial anode. When it is gone, the tank is next. The rod is $20 to $50. A new water heater is $1,500 to $3,000 installed. Check it around year 3 to 5. And no, I am not making that number up. And no, your installer did not mention it. That is the second group. The third group is different. These parts are cheap too, but what they prevent is not a repair bill. It is a flood. Number 15. Go look behind your washing machine right now. If those 2 hoses are black rubber, replace them with braided stainless steel. A pair runs $20 to $35. Those hoses sit under full house pressure every hour of every day, whether the machine is running or not, and rubber gets brittle. When one lets go, it does not drip. It opens. Nobody is home, and it runs for 8 hours. Number 16. Now do the same thing everywhere else. Under every sink and behind every toilet is a small supply line, and in an older house, those are often the original chrome-plated or plastic ones. Braided stainless replacements are $8 to $15 a piece. You would think somebody would have mentioned these at some point. Nobody does, because there is no money in prevention. Number 17. This one is specific to older houses. Go look at the copper line feeding your refrigerator, ice maker, or humidifier. If what you see is a little needle valve clamped around the pipe with a bolt, that is a saddle valve, and it works by driving a pin through the copper. They are banned in a lot of jurisdictions now, for good reason. That is not a valve. That is a leak with a schedule. Do not tighten it. Do not touch it. Note where it is and put a proper shutoff on the list. Number 18. Slow drain that keeps coming back. Skip the caustic drain cleaner entirely. It sits in your trap generating heat against old pipe, and if it does not clear the clog, you now have a trap full of acid that the next person to open it inherits. Use an enzyme treatment instead, overnight. Then hot tap water. Hot, not boiling. Boiling water softens plastic drain joints and can thermally shock porcelain, and you will trade a slow drain for a cracked fixture. And whatever you do, never mix cleaning products together looking for a stronger result. That is how people end up with chlorine gas under a kitchen sink. Number 19. If your water heater has a smaller tank mounted above or beside it, that is an expansion tank, and it gives heated water somewhere to expand into. It has an air bladder inside that fails silently. Tap the top, then tap the bottom. The top should sound hollow, and the bottom should sound solid. If the whole thing sounds solid and dull, the bladder is gone and it is doing nothing. That is a check, not a repair. Note it and get it replaced. Number 20. Buy a water pressure gauge. $10 to $15. Screws onto any outdoor spigot like a garden hose. Read it first thing in the morning with nothing running. You want 40 to 60. Above 80, and you have a genuine problem, because 80 pounds per square inch is the ceiling written into the plumbing code under both the IRC and the IPC, and a pressure-reducing valve becomes a requirement rather than a suggestion. Here is why I put this last. Most of the failures I just walked you through are not random. Fill valves, faucet cartridges, supply tubes, and washer hoses are all rated to about that same 80. Run your house at 100 and you are not unlucky. You are just paying for the same parts twice as often. Getting a pressure-reducing valve fitted runs $350 to $900, and it is one of the few jobs on this list I will tell you to hand to a professional. Now, the thing I promised you at the start. Every check I have given you looks at one fixture. But the leaks that actually destroy houses are the ones under a slab, inside a wall, beneath a floor, where there's no fixture to look at. So here is how you check all of it at once, for free, using a device already installed on your property. Find your water meter. It is usually at the curb under a metal lid, or in the basement where the service line enters. Now shut off every single thing in the house that uses water. Every tap. The ice maker, the washer, the dishwasher, the irrigation timer. Anybody who takes a shower during this ruins the test, so tell them. Read the meter and write the number down. The EPA's own guidance is to leave it a full 2 hours with nothing running. Come back and read it again. If that number moved, water is leaving your system, and it is not going through a fixture. It is going somewhere in the structure of your house. That test will not tell you where it is. It settles whether it exists, and that is the question worth answering. Because the EPA reckons roughly one home in 10 is losing 90 gallons a day or more to a leak nobody has found. 10 minutes of walking around, 2 hours of waiting, $0. That is the single most valuable thing in this entire video. And it is the one thing on the list nobody can sell you. That test is in the book. 100 Old House Fixes That Save You. Thousands has the checklists and the month-by-month maintenance calendar, so you catch small leaks while they are still small, before they reach a floor or a cabinet. Link in the description or scan the code on screen. And if you want more old house fixes that keep money in your pocket, subscribe to Roger the Pipe Guy. Before I let you go, I want to give you the other list, the short one, because 20 things just came off your worry pile, and what is left matters more now, not less. Gas. Never a gas line, never a gas control valve, never a gas water heater beyond flushing it if you are confident. Sewage, meaning anything past your fixture traps and out toward the main. Electrical, including that water heater panel. And structural, which is anything where the fix means opening a wall or a floor. 4 items. That is a whole list of what is genuinely not yours. Everything else in this house was built by people who assumed you would take it apart yourself. They were right. You just needed somebody to say so out loud.